Hey there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to be diving into some horror news here, and we're going to be talking about the latest slasher movie from Spyglass Media called Heart Eyes. This is the same company that's behind the Scream franchise, and it looks like they tried to replicate the formula ever so slightly with this movie. It does feel like a Scream movie in a lot of ways. It's a romantic comedy with a slasher element tacked onto it, so there's a lot of funny moments, a lot of romantic moments between this couple, but at the same time there's a gory R-rated slasher element. So it's kind of fun, but the tones switch up quite rapidly throughout the movie. I watched it a few days ago. I had a lot of fun with it. I do recommend checking out Heart Eyes if you haven't seen it yet. It's quite a fun time, especially if you enjoy slasher movies. But let's get into this article. We're going to break down the box office from its first weekend to its second weekend, because this movie has done something that's quite rare in Hollywood. It's actually made more money in its second weekend than it did in its first weekend, which is quite a rare occurrence. So let's get into this information, break it down, and see exactly what's happened with this movie. So this comes to us from Bloody Disgusting. Heart Eyes made more money in its second weekend than its opening weekend. Like I say, a very rare occurrence, but it looks like something, is going right with this movie, which is great to hear. This is a picture here of the Heart Eyes killer. The actual Heart Eyes killer in the movie, I think he was actually done really well. I actually enjoyed the character. I think the mask looked cool. His presence was quite scary. He has this gigantic kind of machete that he runs around slicing people up with. The kills were graphic and they were fun as well. Like I say, check out the movie if you haven't seen it. So, it's incredibly rare for any movie to make more money on its second weekend of release than its first, but Spyglass and Sony slasher Heart Eyes managed to do just that over the weekend. Topping its opening weekend domestic haul of 8.3 million, director Josh Ruben's Heart Eyes just scared up an additional 10 million in its second weekend at the US box office. So, the first weekend, 8.3 million, second weekend, 10 million, so it jumped by 1.7 million in its second weekend, which is very rare, but it's a great thing to hear. I hope that they turn this into a franchise. There's so many different directions you could go with this. Like Ghostface and the Scream franchise, you could easily turn this into multiple sequels, and I'd be excited to see where they go with it, and I'd definitely be up for a sequel to this movie. So, positive word of mouth and strong reviews have helped out here. Yeah, I believe it's got like 80% on Rotten Tomatoes as well, which is kind of great for a movie like this. But Heart Eyes Week 2 success can no doubt be largely attributed to the past Friday being Valentine's Day. The movie made 4.9 million on Valentine's Day alone, up from the debut Friday of 3.7. Even this week's Sunday and Monday totals were higher than the previous week's Sunday and Monday hauls. Another holiday, President's Day, surely helped to boost this Monday's performance as well. So here's the full weekend 1 plus weekend 2 breakdown. So, in its first weekend, the weekend that it released, Friday, February 7th, 3.7 million, Saturday, February 8th, 3.3 million, Sunday, February 9th, 1.2 million, Monday, February 10th, 740,000. Then we go to weekend 2, where the box office increased. Friday, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, 4.9 million. Saturday, February 15th, made 3 million. Sunday, February 16th, 1.9, and then Monday, February 17th, 1.1. And as you can see, the first weekend figures here, you can see that the second weekend there was a jump in the figures there for pretty much the exact same days on the following weekend, which is great to see. Like I say, it's rare for movies to get a better second weekend than their first, but it's great to hear. So the total domestic take for Heart Eyes is currently at 22.5 million, with the film's reported production budget at 18 million. That means it will need to continue making money in the coming weeks in order to become profitable at the box office for Sony. Stay tuned for updates. So yeah, the budget was 18 million. That probably doesn't factor in marketing and stuff like that. So this movie is probably going to have to make, if I had to guess, it's going to have to make around anywhere from 30 to 35 million to be profitable, I would say. Something around that level. I think it can get there. It may struggle, but I think this movie will just about be profitable, and it could spur them on to, because of the great reception when it comes to critic reviews and audience reviews and people enjoying this movie, and if it is profitable, it could spur Sony on to then release a sequel in the coming years to make this into a franchise. So we'll have to see how this turns out, but I'd be interested to see more of this franchise. So Josh Ruben, who made Werewolves Within and Scare Me, directed the Valentine's Day themed Heart Eyes, with Mason Gooding, who comes from the Scream franchise as well, and Olivia Holt from Cruel Summer, starring as well. So for the past several years, the Heart Eyes killer has wreaked havoc on Valentine's Day by stalking and murdering romantic couples. This Valentine's Day, no couple is safe. The new horror movie from Screen Gems and Spyglass, who made Scream movies and Thanksgiving, features a screenplay written by Philip Murphy, who did The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and Christopher Landon, Happy Death Day, Freaky, and Michael Kennedy from Freaky as well. Obviously, Spyglass Media, I mean, they've done the Scream franchise, which has got more popular than ever recently. Also, they did the Thanksgiving movie, and that movie was received really, really well. And then Thanksgiving 2, I'm not sure if Thanksgiving 2 is already out, but I know that they were working on a sequel. I can't remember if Thanksgiving 2 is already out, or if it's coming out this year. So all I'm basically saying is that Thanksgiving was done so well that they made a sequel. So there's a high possibility here that this movie could also get a sequel. I mean, we've got the Scream franchise, we're getting a Thanksgiving franchise, and we could end up getting a Heart Eyes franchise. And because of this movie was quite good, I think that's a high possibility. The slasher is currently certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with an 81% score from critics. Yeah, I thought it was in the 80s. 81%. That's crazy high. When Captain America has just come out and got 50%, this movie got 81%. Put that into context. Captain America with a budget of like 200 and something million, right? That got 50%. This movie comes out, $18 million budget, 81% critic score. So something is going right with this movie, which is fantastic to hear. And again, the design of the Heart Eyes Killer, really, really fun. His presence is menacing. When he's walking around, the sound of his footsteps is like really scary as hell. But yeah, really fun movie. I recommend checking it out. And as a fan of this movie, it's great to hear that this movie is doing well. It's going to be profitable. Fingers crossed that we get an announcement of a sequel at some point in the coming months. That'd be great to hear. But guys, jump into the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. The fact that Heart Eyes made more money in its second weekend than it did in its first weekend. Like me, do you think there's a possibility that we're going to get a sequel and a follow-up to this movie? Like we did with the Scream franchise, like we've been doing with Thanksgiving as well. It seems like a possibility to me. But guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so make sure you jump down in the comment section and let me know. As always, thanks so much for being here. Make sure you hit the like button before you leave. Consider becoming a subscriber of the channel if you haven't done so far. It goes a long way to supporting the content, so I really appreciate that. And I will see you in the next video.